What's going on, guys? Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking us on out. Much appreciated. Got a new Porpoise pod coming out today. I would appreciate it. I'll put the link down here in the bottom. Would you guys go download that? Check out the work that me and my guy Alejandro Solana are doing every week. Appreciate all the support you guys give the radio show with me and Leroy. We're having a lot of fun, obviously, here in Dolphins land. And, man, I'm sure all of you have already watched it already. If you guys are watching this, I'm sure you've watched the 10 minutes of Tua mic'd up. But Goosies. That was good right there, dude. I mean, it really was, especially with him and McCochin back and forth. McCochin trying to give him the praise of how good he is, and just a delight. It's good to see the guy having fun play football. It's good to see this team having fun playing football. It's been a real joy for sure, and it's gonna be weird not having it this Sunday. Can't remember in recent memory where you're like, the bye week. This sucks. Perfect timing maybe because of the middle of the season, but also, there's a whole rest versus rust thing. I don't know, man. These guys seem like a well-oiled machine. I think the most important thing is anybody who does have is banged up. We know they've had some injuries, that they're in a good spot right now. But interesting with the bye week, I was boots on the ground at the Heat game on Monday against the Phoenix Suns, last Heat home game for the next 4, and I was curious because I was like, someone's gonna show up for the team, right? It's a bye week, Heat's last basketball game here in a while. Someone's gonna show up. Well, somebody did show up at the Heat game, but initially the first person I saw was not a Miami Dolphin. He's a free agent right now, and that was Odell Beckham Jr. Odell was sitting courtside, and to kind of give everybody an idea of where I sit, I basically sit at the top of the lower bowl is where the media sits, kind of right in front of literally where Eric Reed calls the basketball games, and we're looking out facing the Heat bench. So, the parameters, there's like this whole, when I'm looking, there's people facing out towards the Heat bench, obviously down on the floor. And so Jimmy Butler comes over and he hugs somebody. I was like, hey, who's he hugging? And turns around, who is it? OBJ. Oh, all right. You're catching a little Heat game there, love. And that was cool. But then I'm like, no Dolphins, though. It's kind of weird. No Dolphins on here. But then right about as the game tips off, a little after the game tips off, this behemoth sits courtside right next to the Miami Heat bench. I'm like, that's Melvin Ingram. Former AFC Defensive Player of the Month, Melvin Ingram. So I was like, cool. Melvin Ingram seems to be the guy from the Heat who's the guy from the Dolphins who's here. But interestingly, I was keeping an eye on this, and I think you guys saw this on Twitter. I posted this and got a lot of intrigue, I'd say, from Dolph fans. And that was, so Odell is it's halftime, and Odell Beckham is about to, it looks like, be brought into the Heat locker room from one of the Heat's staff. They're going to escort him. So he's, kind of making his way around, hobnobbing with people, and then gets to basically the other side of the court. And who's there? Melvin Ingram. Melvin Ingram, kind of pulls him aside. They have a little chatty chat. I don't know what it was about. Could have been about the weather. Could have been about the fall of crypto. Could have been about, who knows what. Or perhaps Melvin Ingram was doing some recruiting. Maybe he was giving him a little pitchy pitch. Hey, you like it down here? You don't have any team to sign with right now. You haven't picked a team to sign with. You want to go to Texas? Dallas? Boring. You want to go to Buffalo? Freezing. You want to go live in paradise for a year? I don't know. It was interesting. So I think a lot of, there were plenty of Dolph fans who were, I think, intrigued by it. And there are plenty of fans who, feel like Odell is too big a star, too much of rocking the boat of bringing a guy in. And I even put a poll out yesterday during the radio show. And it's basically over. It's got like 2 or 3 hours left. And it was just basically, does OBJ tickle your fancy? And it was 62% to 38% fancy not tickled. So the majority of people don't want him. But a good chunk there is intrigued by it. It's not like an 80-20 deal. So, I'm interested if this is something they're going to pursue. I don't think they will. All right, let me just start by saying that. I don't think the Dolphins would go in that direction. I think that they obviously have to feel as good as their offense is doing right now, as good as everything does feel right now. I get the idea of don't rock the boat. The chemistry seems perfect right now. You got Tyreek Hill. He is, the alpha receiver in that room. You've got the perfect guy as his complement in Jalen Waddle. You got the perfect complement in Trent Sherfield, who's like the all Mike McDaniel system guy. We're getting some splashes of Cedric Wilson every now and then. I'd say, like, if you're going to upgrade anywhere, it'd be like, a third receiver and then maybe Trent's in that fourth role. But I get it. I understand. You had a perfect game last week of 300 passing, 200 rushing. It was perfect balance. The thing I would say is with Tyreek is him being the biggest star on the team outside of Tua, obviously. Quarterback's always going to get the bigger rub, but like he's the mouthpiece of the team. I mean, Tyreek Hill is the voice of the Miami Dolphins, if anything, and I do think it's interesting if you were to bring in a guy who's not a better player. Hear me out on this. He's not a better player than Tyreek Hill is, because Tyreek's the best in the league right now. But Odell is I would say a bigger star than Tyreek Hill is, and one of the rare guys in the league that's actually a bigger star than Odell is. I mean, he's the Steph Curry of wide receivers. He made the one-handed catch cool. Like, he's a big deal, and a lot of headlines come with him, and a lot of attention comes with getting Odell. It's been very polarizing and positive and negative feedback throughout his career. It feels like everything is always whatever he does is news, right? Recently just sued Nike for $20 million. A lot of people are theorizing why would he do that? Some people are saying, that it's because he lost a lot of money in Bitcoin, whatever. The point is, I can understand the argument that you have your star receiver here. This is Tyreek Hill's team. It's his wide receiver room. When I was at the gala, who was there? The wide receiver room. That was who came to the gala, and you could tell he's the guy that kind of runs the show there. So bringing in a guy who maybe has even more, who's not a better player, but has more star power in them, I can see the argument of why that rocks the boat. The only thing I would say to that is this particular team just seems very good at dealing with that stuff. It's just everybody pulling together. Even Jeff Wilson's talking about this. Everybody is task at hand. There's not a lot of side talk. It's just task at hand. And he's only been here for a couple of weeks, and he's found it very noticeable. You had a lot of pass rushers here. They bring in a Bradley Chubb. Yes, more maybe in his prime and a big boost to something that they needed, but they didn't feel like they were having success anyway, and they still felt like, let's go make a major home run cut. I think also the thing I like about it, if they were to do it, I think it sends a huge message to the league that the Dolphins are all in, even though ESPN may not look at them as a true contender, and that's another story for another day. But I think that does send a message to the rest of the league. Oh, no, they're all the way in. Even more, like, we knew they were all in, but then, like, Chris Greer found a couple extra chippy chips on the floor, and he threw them all in. And I think also you keep them away from the Bills. You keep them away from maybe a divisional rival, a team that everybody still is in belief, even though maybe they should get a reality check, that they are one of the Super Bowl favorites out there. So, I don't know. For me, I am not worried so much about – I'm not worried about the chemistry thing. I think if they were to do it, I think they'd be okay. But I understand where Dolphin fans are coming from in that place. But I thought it was cool. I don't think it's going to happen. But it was interesting seeing Melvin Ingram just go out there and say, "Hey, why don't you come over here, OBJ? Let's talk some shop. Let's see what's going on there." Also, speaking of Tyreek Hill, I caught this from him on Twitter, where he just goes, "Why is Keyshawn Johnson on TV?" Which that is why I like him as the voice of the Miami Dolphins, because he's saying what we're all thinking. Like this Keyshawn Johnson, wishy-washy with the Tua stuff. Stephen A. Smith recently, wishy-washy with the Tua stuff, because they were saying, is he a top 5 quarterback in the league right now? And he was outraged. He didn't want to go there. And he's listening to a bunch of people. Not better than him right now. So I like the fact that Tyreek Hill comes out there and he just goes, Keyshawn Johnson's on television. Why is that? Why are we listening to what Keyshawn has to say about this type of stuff? So Really, really cool. But man, I tell you what, that Tua mic'd up. Holy crap, that was good material. That was goosies on goosies galore, dude. It was absolutely a beaut to watch, and you can tell guys having fun. You got a little game day look at it. I think that was my favorite part, was the look at the game day relationship between him and Mike McDaniel. Obviously, it was in a win. They were smoking fools, so it was a great game to have Tua mic'd up. You're going to get like nothing but positive feedback. But the idea that you got to see like kind of the interaction between both of them, that was really cool to me. I enjoyed that thoroughly. I love that touchdown dance that he does. I can't pull that off, but he can. He could dance however the hell that he wants to. And I loved him leaving the field and just like getting the MVP chance, just giving like the most polite thank you to everybody. You know, like just nice, and I think and somewhat moved by all of that. So it was really cool to see. It was really cool to see. Great material that the Dolphins put out there with the mic'd up. I enjoyed it thoroughly.